You've probably come across this kind of content on platforms like TikTok. What if I told you that you can create these kinds of videos for free, with full control and without censorship, right on your own computer without paying for online platforms? I'm going to show you the result I achieved using this method.
I've been so excited for this vacation, my love.
And me, my love, we're finally going to have some time to relax.
Fresh. Sweet. What? Click. Welcome to Fruit Love Island.
Hello, gorgeous.
The drama's wild. Welcome to Fruit Love Island.
Hey! Get away from my wife, Banana!
Love Fruit Island is officially an unprecedented phenomenon in AI content creation, and many people are already producing these kinds of extravagant stories. We're talking about content creators gaining millions of views in just a few hours. This is a highly viral type of content. You might be wondering, how are these creations made? Well, there are very powerful tools like Seedance 2.0, which has become very popular in recent months for generating videos featuring all kinds of Hollywood-style characters, along with the legal issues that come with it. The quality is incredible, but the higher the quality, the higher the cost. Seedance is currently one of the most expensive video generation services. It's followed by other services like Kling AI or Sora, which unfortunately is expected to shut down in the coming weeks. These services are easy to use, but they offer very limited control. That's not even the main issue. The real problem is the cost. And let me tell you, they're not actually expensive right now. Many of these companies are operating at a loss to offer competitive pricing. What that means is that, in the long run, these prices will likely increase even further. Currently, creating a 30-second short in the style of Fruit Love Island using Seedance costs around $100 to $150, according to content creators. But today, I'm bringing you a free alternative: private, uncensored, and fully controllable. You'll be able to create short videos using a mid-range computer, such as an RTX 4070 with 12 gigabytes of VRAM. All right, the video I just showed you was created using the low VRAM workflow for GPUs with at least 12 gigabytes of VRAM. The quality isn't exceptional, but for this type of content, it works perfectly well. If you don't even have a mid-range GPU, I'll later show you how to use a high VRAM workflow with cards like the RTX 5090 on RunPod, which is a very affordable GPU rental service. This way, you can achieve the highest possible quality with open-source tools and very fast generation times. Let's start with the low VRAM workflow. The first step is to install ComfyUI. You'll find a tutorial in the description with an automatic installer for your PC. In this video, you'll also find a download package in the description containing all the files needed for this workflow, including the Loras. Simply drag and drop the workflow and download all the required models. We'll mainly be using 3 models: ZImage Turbo to enhance image quality, Qwen 2509 to generate different camera angles and new poses, and finally LTX 2.3, which is currently one of the best open source video models. If any model appears in red and ComfyUI hasn't detected it automatically, and it doesn't show up in this panel, I'll leave links to all the models in the notes, along with the specific folders where you need to place them. All of these models are combined within this workflow to automate the process as much as possible. To get started, I recommend using the free versions of ChatGPT and Gemini to create the characters that will appear in your video. An image like this is enough to use as a reference. Generate a detailed prompt in ChatGPT and then create the image in Gemini. In my case, I'll be using a Lora that has been previously trained with many images of this character in different poses. This makes Qwen more precise and efficient, but it's not essential. All right, I'll also share this workflow so you can adjust the resolution however you like. In this case, I'll be using a vertical format resolution for TikTok, and as you can see, this is the result. Here you have the workflow used in this tutorial. In this case, it's a manual workflow that allows us to maintain full control over our generations at all times. I'll explain how it works and which parameters you should pay attention to. As you can see, this is the main image we generated with Qwen. It will serve as the first frame of the animation. In this section, the video will be generated using LTX. Enter your prompt in this box. You can also adjust the number of frames to be generated. By default, it's set to 121 frames, which equals about 5 seconds of video at 24 frames per second. However, you can modify this as you like. My recommendation is not to exceed 5 seconds. This is a common limitation of AI video models. After around 5 seconds, videos tend to lose coherence and struggle to maintain consistency. That's why it's often better to use an extend method, which generates another 5-second clip starting from the last frame of the previous video. However, we won't need that for this type of content. I'm going to generate the video after creating a solid prompt. To make sure only this section runs, we'll disable all the other sections by clicking this icon. If you don't see it, you'll need to install Argy 3 through the Model Manager and enable the option Show Fast Toggles in Group Headers. Once the video is finished, here's the result.
I've been so excited for this vacation, my love.
And here you have the last frame of the video, which you can save if you'd like. This is very useful for chaining the next scene. Next, you have this section where Qwen image and Zed image are located. In this case, we'll use Qwen image to generate new starting frames and Zed image to enhance the quality of those images. However, you can disable Zed image if you prefer. To disable any node, press Ctrl+B and press it again to enable it. Here you'll also find Qwen multi-angle camera. This is very useful when you want to create a specific camera shot and move the camera toward a particular direction. It was designed for Qwen 2511, a more advanced version than the one we're using here, but it can still be useful. Alright, finally, these two sections contain the main parameters for all the models, as well as the specific settings for Zed image and Qwen. In simple character style description, I recommend only describing the visual style of the characters. In this case, they are Pixar-style characters with a 3D animated look, so we'll keep it simple. In the section below, you can use a more detailed prompt for the upscaler if you'd like. Alright, it can also be very useful to have a second reference image. So in this case, I'm going to add one because it will be especially important. Fine. What I want to do now is create a camera change within the same scene, where the male strawberry character becomes the focus. This is important to understand. If I use the main image of the scene, Qwen will generate the camera shot from that same original position, and that's not what we want. Instead, we want the position from the last frame of the animation. That's why we need to save the last frame and add it here into Qwen. This way, it will create the impression that the characters are moving forward and walking naturally. In this case, it might not be very noticeable, but trust me, it's extremely important for future scenes. We're going to disable the Zed image upscaler. Since we're working with the low VRAM workflow, it can add extra processing time, and Qwen's output quality for this type of character is already quite good. However, keep in mind that for more realistic characters, this image enhancement step becomes essential. This is the camera shot generated by Qwen. Now we'll repeat the process. Disable the Qwen section and activate the LTX section. And this is how you work with the manual workflow. Save the videos from ComfyUI and import them into your preferred video editor.
I've been so excited for this vacation, my love.
And me, my love, we're finally going to have some time to relax.
I also highly recommend using ChatGPT for generating prompts in LTX. A well-crafted prompt is extremely important for this model. I'll also provide a workflow that includes audio reference using an ID LoRa for LTX. This essentially helps maintain consistency in the character's voice. For example, I extracted the audio from the second clip where the strawberry man speaks and imported it here.
And me, my love, we're finally going to have some time to relax.
With this workflow, it will generate a voice similar to the reference voice, although you shouldn't expect it to be 100% identical. It's a very powerful tool.
This ice cream is incredible, love.
Alright, this would be the manual workflow. In my opinion, it's the most controllable and the most dynamic. I've also designed an automatic workflow where you can input prompts for each scene, add images, and control the cameras. It's a great option if you already have a script and want to speed up the process. However, on low VRAM systems, it can take too long and may introduce errors that propagate throughout the entire sequence. If the first shot isn't good, the rest of the shots will follow the same issues and won't improve. On the other hand, I do recommend using this workflow on RunPod with an RTX 5090, since generation times will be much shorter. You can also use Qwen 2511, which is more advanced than 2509. Just look at how fast you can generate videos. At around $1 per hour, it's far more efficient and affordable than other paid platforms. Let's explain what RunPod is and how to use it. RunPod is a very reliable platform that has been delivering excellent performance for years. It allows you to rent GPS, which means you don't even need your own computer to use it. The interface is quite simple. Here you can add credits to your account, and those credits will be consumed as you use the GPS. The cost depends on the specific GPU you choose. In this case, we'll use an RTX 5090 with 32 gigabytes of VRAM. Once selected, it will take you to the pod template section, where you can choose from a wide variety of community templates for different models. I've prepared a pod with everything used in this tutorial, which you'll find linked in the description, ready to use on RunPod. Once selected, you'll need to wait for everything to download. I should warn you that this process can take anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes. My recommendation is that if you plan to use this workflow regularly, you should use storage to save the pod to your own account storage. This does have an extra cost, but it's not too expensive. Once everything has finished downloading, you'll see Starting Server in the logs. At that point, you'll be able to access ComfyUI. Go to Connect and click on port 8188. And now you can use the same workflows as before, but with an extremely powerful GPU. This means much faster generation times, as well as higher quality results when using Qwen. My recommendation is to have your video script and prompts prepared in advance so you don't waste time. I want to go over a couple of details about the automatic workflow. As you can see, ComfyUI is constantly being updated, and this can sometimes introduce issues or bugs, like the Save Video node becoming too large and getting in the way, or problems when modifying the prompt in the LTX node after running the workflow. These things are, unfortunately, unavoidable. There is a way to work with this workflow without it becoming self-destructive. If one generation has errors, the entire chain can collapse. However, you can avoid this by adjusting and refining the prompts at each step. ComfyUI will not regenerate a video unless the prompt has been modified, which means it will automatically skip to the next generation where changes have been made.
Can't keep living like this. It's hurting you. You can't.
As you can see here, this video looks terrible, so we'll modify the prompt and run it again. Notice how it keeps the previously generated video intact. If you want to force a regeneration manually, you can change the noise_seed. The same applies to Qwen. Also, if you want to use the Z image upscaler, make sure to switch this connector to Qwen plus Z image. Finally, you'll be able to download the complete video from this node. And as I always say on this channel, open source models are the future. You can use the workflows I've provided and modify them however you like. Want a more aggressive upscaler? You can adjust it. Want to control camera positions? You can do that too. Want to automate your entire workflow? That's also possible. ComfyUI is all about freedom, and it will continue improving until generative AI becomes as controllable as possible. Combining this with traditional digital tools like Photoshop, Blender, or Unreal Engine can lead to incredible results. On this channel, we'll dive deep into this shift in content creation. We'll recreate viral or eye-catching content from social media and push it further by combining all these modern techniques. Subscribe so you don't miss anything.